In October 2013, as coffee shops buzzed and commuters swiped their phones, one man sat in a public library in San Francisco, calm, composed and completely unaware that in mere seconds, the FBI would storm in, wrestle him to the ground, and seize his laptop mid-click. What they discovered would shock the world. An online drug empire bigger than anything law enforcement had ever seen. Hidden in plain sight on the dark web. This is the story of Silk Road, a billion-dollar marketplace run by a 29-year-old libertarian idealist turned digital kingpin, and how the perfect crime unraveled under the weight of its own ambition. Ross Ulbricht was no ordinary criminal. An Eagle Scout, a physics major, a self-proclaimed believer in personal freedom. But by 2011, Ulbricht had grown disillusioned with the world around him. He wanted to build something that defied the rules of government control. An untraceable marketplace where people could buy and sell anything without interference. His solution: Silk Road, a site buried in the anonymity of the Tor network, where users paid in Bitcoin and identities were cloaked in encryption. At first, it looked like a revolutionary experiment. No violence. No middlemen. Just pure, decentralized trade. But soon, the listings spoke for themselves: heroin, LSD, cocaine, hacked data, forged documents. The Silk Road wasn't just a marketplace, it was a thriving black market. And business was booming. Within 2 years, Silk Road was raking in hundreds of millions of dollars. At its peak, over 10,000 products were listed. And over 1 million transactions had passed through the site. Ulbricht, operating under the alias Dread Pirate Roberts, had become a myth, a ghostly figure controlling a digital empire from the shadows. But with success came danger. The FBI, DEA, IRS, and Homeland Security all launched parallel investigations, each racing to unmask the faceless figure behind the keyboard. But every time they thought they had a lead, Dread Pirate Roberts would vanish into the code. Then, things got darker. Ulbricht, growing paranoid, allegedly ordered hits on those he suspected of betrayal, using his own platform to arrange assassinations, though none were ever confirmed to have taken place. The idealist was fading. What remained was a man desperate to maintain power, no matter the cost. The break came from within. Infiltrators turned moderators. A careless message. A single trace of real identity left behind in a forgotten forum post. It was enough to give the FBI a thread to pull, and when they pulled, the whole web unraveled. On October 1, 2013, Ross Ulbricht was arrested in the science fiction section of a public library in San Francisco. His laptop was still open, logged in as Dread Pirate Roberts. Chat windows glowing with transactions in progress. The evidence was overwhelming. In 2015, Ulbricht was sentenced to double life in prison without parole, plus 40 years. Silk Road was gone. But its legacy, it was just beginning. The Silk Road didn't just change the way drugs were sold. It changed how law enforcement, technology, and privacy would collide in the digital age. And in a world where anonymity still dances with danger, the question remains: was Ross Ulbricht a criminal mastermind, or a digital age martyr who flew too close to the flame? Only one thing is certain. On the dark web, nothing stays hidden forever. The fall of Ross Ulbricht should have been the end. A message sent loud and clear: no one is untouchable, not even on the dark web. But just weeks after Silk Road was shut down, something strange happened. A new site appeared. Its interface was eerily familiar. Its product listings identical. And it bore a chilling message on its homepage: Silk Road will never die. What followed was a cat-and-mouse game darker and more twisted than anyone imagined: an underground war for control of the internet's black market. And a deeper look into a world where trust is a currency more valuable than Bitcoin. And betrayal is always just a click away. Silk Road was dead. But in its ashes, Silk Road 2.0 emerged, led by another shadowy figure calling himself Dread Pirate Roberts. He claimed to be a successor, a believer in the original vision. But this wasn't idealism anymore. This was a gold rush. Other markets sprang up like weeds: Black Market Reloaded, Agora, Alphabay. Each one bolder, bigger, and more ruthless than the last. Some specialized in drugs. Others, weapons, hacking tools, child exploitation. The dark web had evolved. And Silk Road was no longer the ceiling, it was just the floor. But with growth came greed. And with greed, betrayal. Law enforcement doubled down. They infiltrated forums, turned moderators into informants. And in July 2017, they struck again, shutting down Alphabay, which had grown 10 times larger than Silk Road. But here's the twist. The man behind Alphabay wasn't some hardened cybercriminal. He was a 25-year-old Canadian named Alexandre Cazes, living lavishly in Thailand, driving a Lamborghini, and storing his millions in neatly organized Bitcoin wallets. When the police finally found him, he was dead, hanged in his prison cell under suspicious circumstances. Officially ruled a suicide. But rumors still swirl. Some say he knew too much. Others say someone didn't want him to talk. Today, dark web marketplaces are more secure, more decentralized, and more elusive than ever before. Instead of single sites, criminals now use decentralized networks and encrypted apps to stay steps ahead of the law. Artificial intelligence, blockchain anonymity layers, and sophisticated obfuscation tools have made the game nearly impossible to police. And Ross Ulbricht, he remains behind bars, his double life sentence unchanged. His supporters still fight for clemency, arguing that his punishment is disproportionate and politically motivated. But the machine he built, whether he intended to or not, changed the game forever. In 2020, a Bitcoin wallet linked to the original Silk Road suddenly came to life. For nearly a decade, it had sat dormant, untouched, silent. Then, without warning, over $1 billion worth of Bitcoin moved in a single transaction. The crypto world went into a frenzy. Was Ross Ulbricht operating from behind bars? Had someone else cracked the keys? Or was this the work of a new player, someone watching, waiting in the shadows, ready to finish what Ross started? But the truth was even stranger. Because this wasn't just a transaction. It was a message. And someone was about to declare war on the digital world as we know it. When the US government traced the movement, they uncovered something shocking. A mysterious hacker, still anonymous, had breached Silk Road's wallets years earlier. The funds had been quietly sitting in their possession ever since. No one knew how this person gained access. No one knew who they were. But the message was clear. Even the deepest corners of the dark web weren't safe. Not from law enforcement. Not from hackers. Not from each other. And then came a series of coordinated cyberleaks. Internal FBI files. Homeland Security surveillance documents. Encryption-breaking tools. All dumped online. All connected by the same anonymous signature. Some believed it was a whistleblower. Others whispered a name feared in both government and underground circles, the ghost. Post-Silk Road, a new breed of player entered the game, not drug dealers or buyers, but digital vigilantes. Groups like Phineas Fisher and Anonymous launched ops against government agencies, corrupt corporations, and even rival criminal rings. Their philosophy: if the government watches you, then they will watch the government. Some targeted child exploitation forums, doxing their members. Others exposed money laundering banks, toppling CEOs. But the line between hero and criminal blurred fast. Governments began labeling them terrorists. Bounties were placed. Tracking tools evolved. The dark web turned from a market into a battlefield. And still, in the shadows, someone kept feeding the war. Leaking documents. Cracking wallets. Unlocking encrypted drives tied to Silk Road investigations. Some say it's an inside job. Others think it's Ross Ulbricht's failsafe, activated after his arrest. Despite law enforcement victories, the truth is grim. The Silk Road never really ended. Its code was copied. its philosophy adopted, and its decentralized successors now use bulletproof hosting, privacy coins like Monero, and community-run moderation systems that are almost impossible to penetrate. What began as one man's idealistic rebellion has evolved into a multi-headed hydra. Every time a site is taken down, 3 more take its place. And in 2022, a new marketplace surfaced under the name Libertasnet, a nod to Silk Road's original libertarian roots. Its creator no one knows, but the layout, the manifesto, and the eerily familiar forum names suggest that someone from the original team may have returned. Or worse, someone who knew Ross Ulbricht's secrets better than anyone else.